the right woman have not come yet into my life. I said, no. You could only find the right woman for you if you marry a woman. And you will know that you have married the right woman when the woman thinks that she is always right. When your wife, your woman thinks that she is always right, then congratulations, you have found the right woman. Sakto hindi? Sorry lang kung nagsala ko. Okay, now, the question is, where are you? While God is asking Adam and Eve, they were hiding behind the woods. Since we are descendants of Adam and Eve, we have also something in common with Adam and Eve. Do you think? You don't have something in common with Adam and Eve? If you don't have something in common with Adam and Eve, then you are not the descendants of Adam and Eve. Maybe the atheist will say, we are right. Now, what are those things? Agin panubli na ton kay Adan kay Eva? Their attitude of hiding behind something when they committed sin against God. How about us? Where are we hiding? Where are we hiding? That sometimes we could not answer the question of God, where are you? We could not give ourselves the call. What are our slogan in the ministry now? As I recall, the first is, I will go. Then they have changed it, we will go. And later on, in MBC it says, get involved. What barred us that we could not give our answer to go, we will go, and we will get involved. As our scripture says, this child will reveal the secrets of the hearts of many. Listen to this sermon unto the end. Those who will listen to the sermon unto the end will be saved. If you will not, think of it. We cannot, maybe, try to examine ourselves. To examine yourselves. What are those things that bar us, that hinder us in the calling of God? In answering the question of God, where are you? Where are we hiding? Actually, we did not notice it, brethren. That sometimes, most of the times, we are also hiding behind the woods of our lives. And without our knowing, we are nurturing those woods in our lives. What are those woods? Maybe we are hiding behind the woods of our insecurities. We are hiding behind the woods of our fears. We are hiding behind the woods of our guilt. Sometimes we hide behind the woods of our properties. We could not go and join in the ministry because we could not leave our beautiful house. We build millions worth of house that sometimes when we were invited to join in the ministry, we cannot go. Nobody will watch my house. Then you will buy a dog to watch your house. Then another invitation comes. Another reason. I could not go because nobody would take care of my dogs. We hide ourselves behind our properties and behind our pits. What more woods that we nurture in our lives? Sometimes we hide behind the woods of our pride, behind the woods of our insecurities, our inferiorities, and I think the greatest and the tallest woods in our lives is our woods of superiorities. We are hiding behind the woods of our superiorities. We are hiding behind the woods of our profession, our fashion, our dreams, and our wants. And so much for that, brethren. You try to examine yourselves. What are those woods in our lives that hinders us? Now, let us proceed to the next, or to the first question. The first question is, where are you? Or whether we proceed, we will proceed to the second question. Second question, where is he? The first question is the question of God to those he had created. But the second question is the question of those God created, asking, where is he? Or where is God? Then, this question happened when the three wise men made their courtesy call to King Herod the Great, asking, where is he? Where is the child to be born as the King of Jerusalem? When King Herod heard those questions, he was alarmed and threatened in his throne, because there is somebody who is about to be born and to replace him in his throne. Now, even thinking of threatening that the priest would made a plot to dethrone him. That's why he ordered that every child 2 years under in Bethlehem should be executed when the three wise men did not come back and tell him where the child was born. I want to show you a video before we proceed. Anyway, ano oras na? Lipot mo lang yan. 2 minutes siguro. May oras pa ta? Okay. I want to show you something about the time where Jesus Christ was born.
Okay. A historical beacon, not only in Africa, but in the entire world, as many historians agree that this is one of the oldest countries in the world. The traditional ties to this country are still, and as the rest of the history, upholding their culture. From the ancient Ge'ez language that dates back to the 4th century and has its own scripts to the calendar, Ethiopia is indeed
sound.
The calendar, now known as the Ge'ez or Ethiopic calendar, which the calendar by Pope Gregory XIII as a replacement for the Julian calendar. It to be a historical beacon, not only in Africa, but in the entire world, as many historians agree that this is one of the oldest countries in the world. The traditional ties of this country are still strong and unchanged, and as the rest of the world has evolved over the years leaving their ancient history behind, Ethiopia did the opposite, upholding their culture. From the ancient Ge'ez language that dates back to the 4th century and has its own scripts to the calendar, Ethiopia is indeed a unique country. The Ethiopian calendar has been in the spotlight for quite some time, but still, most of the world does not yet know that it uses its own version of the calendar, now known as the Ge'ez or Ethiopic calendar, which is about 7 to 8 years behind. The rest of the world uses the Gregorian calendar, which was introduced in October 1582 by Pope Gregory XIII as a replacement for the Julian calendar. It later spread throughout the Roman Empire and beyond as Christianity spread, and influenced the design of almost all calendars elsewhere, as we can see today. As the Europeans were colonizing Africa, they brought forth the calendar which is now widely used all over the continent, but due to Ethiopia's successful resistance to colonization, they were able to preserve their traditional calendar. The Ethiopian calendar has 12 months of 30 days each, with a 13th month that has 5 days, and 6 on a leap year which occurs after every 4 years. The difference of the 7 to 8 years between the Ethiopian and Gregorian calendars results from an alternative calculation in determining the date of the birth of Jesus. According to the Ethiopian calendar, Jesus was born in 7 BC, while the Gregorian one claims that Jesus was born in 1 AD, thus creating the 7-year and 8-month difference. The Gregorian calendar has been subject to criticism. In 2012, Pope Benedict XVI argued that the Christian calendar was based on miscalculation, and Jesus was born earlier than previously believed, sometime between 7 BC and 2 BC, meaning the Christian calendar based on the year of his birth is off by several years. By the time the Gregorian calendar was introduced, the Julian calendar had already been in use for almost 1,600 years, after which the Gregorian version was implemented to represent modernization and improvement in date-keeping. Julius Caesar, who initiated the Julian calendar, introduced this Egyptian solar calendar, taking the length of the solar year as 365 and a quarter days, which had exaggerated the year with 11 minutes and 14 seconds. Secondly, the excess leap days that were introduced by the Julian calendar had caused the calendar dates of the seasons to regress by almost 1 day per 100 years. As time went by, this error had resulted to massive differences in time, and by the time Pope Gregory XIII was the head of the Church in the 1500s, the discrepancy had accumulated to approximately 10 days. To reinstate the correct time, the Pope based his reform on the March equinox, which used to occur on March 11th, but had shifted to March 21st, in 325 C. This change was done on October 1582, when the reform advanced the date by 10 days. If you go back to check your 1582 calendar, you'll notice the missing 10 days, as Thursday 4th October of the year was followed by Friday 15th October of the same year. Currently, the Julian calendar is 13 days behind the Gregorian calendar, but the discrepancy between the two calendars will increase to 14 days in the year 2100. It does not even end there, as Ethiopia celebrates its new year on September 11th, unless it is a leap year, in which case it is celebrated on September 12th, and whose celebrations usually last for a week. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which uses the calendar, also recognizes January 7th as the day that Jesus was born, while in most parts of the world,
Okay, thank you, Pastor Chris. Now, what did you got, brethren? Have you noticed that there is 7 years difference between the calendar of Gregorian calendar in which we are using now compared to the calendar in which the Ethiopian is still using there is a 7-year difference. In the Ethiopian original calendar, they are only in the year 2017. And we are in the Gregorian calendar, which have 7 years difference. So we are now in the 2024. What happened? Why? We might puzzle about this. You might be puzzled about this reckoning of time. Always remember that we are the people in the fulfillment of Daniel 7:25 prophecy. For he will change, according to Daniel, he will change the times and the laws, the papacy. So therefore, brethren, we are supposed in the year 2017, if we would not accept the reckoning of time according to the calendar that was introduced by Pope Gregory. Isn't it? How it happens, that might be puzzling to us as Christians, especially Adventists. This might turn our world upside down. And we need scholars. We need theologians to examine and review our teachings if we based on the original calendar that was also used in the time of Daniel before his prophecy. That was based by Julius Caesar according to the records. The calendar that were used by Julius Caesar was based on the calendar of the Egyptian. Meaning, those calendars are the original calendars that was used in the time of Daniel when he announced his prophecy. Now, I will leave it to you to examine and search more, study more. We need to learn and study more about these issues. Now, the point of the second question is, where is he? Where is Jesus? Where is Jesus in our lives? Do Jesus have already a part in our lives? Do others could see Jesus in our lives, in our actions, in our words, and in the way we talk? Where is Jesus when we are called to be the elders of this church? Where is Jesus when we are called to be the deacons and deaconesses of this church? Where is Jesus when we are called to take care of his institutions? Where is Jesus when we are called to be an administrators of our hospitals, our schools? When we are called to be the principal, the accountant? Where is Jesus when we are called to be the students' dormitory dean? Where is Jesus when we are called